We would like to acknowledge Tamiru Magarsa. At this point, we would like to acknowledge individuals who worked above and beyond their required commitment. Ato Freu Tadla. Miss Meskarem Assegid. Mr. Fitsum Wibishet. Mr. Sarkadis Kabede. We'd like to acknowledge Mr. Elias Sime. We'd like to acknowledge Mr. Abtamu Taganya. We would like to acknowledge Ms. Frehiwat Tamiru. We would like to acknowledge Mr. Negede Abate. We would like to acknowledge Dr. Tamrat Haile. We would like to acknowledge Mr. Tawalda Gabramariam. We would like to acknowledge Dr. Fasaha Asafa. We would like to acknowledge Mr. Gosa Tashome. We would like to acknowledge Mr. Tamrat Malaku. We would like to acknowledge Dr. Abraham Belai. We would like to acknowledge Ms. Damitu Ambisa. At this point, we would like to move forward to non-Ethiopian who have been overly committed and dedicated to the vision of His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I would like to call to the stage His Excellency Mohammed Alabar Ali. Assad Hamze. Julian Tarantini. Mohammed El Nasir and China Jiangsu International ETCG. Furthermore, there are individuals that we cannot put into words who have spent day and night in this compound and has made Unity Park a reality. Mr. Desalegn Malaku. Mr. Tamiru Magarsa. Mr. Solomon Danye. Mr. Zagaye Shawangizao. Mr. Indala Asafa. Mr. Solomon Hailagorgis. Mr. Abiy Alamayo. Mr. Mistre Sabsibish. Mr. Dagim Admasu. Mr. Yared Wadajo. Mr. Wandwessen Dabebe. Engineer Mohammed Abdul Rahim. And Mr. Alamayo Bakale. Your Excellencies, Honorable Regional Presidents and Ministers, Mayors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I would like to invite His Excellency, Mr. Uhuru Museveni, the President of Uganda, to the stage.
I'm very sorry. President Museveni, please come to stage.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Ahmed, and Our Excellency, the President of Ethiopia, and the presidents of the countries who have been invited here, I want to congratulate the Prime Minister and the government of Ethiopia for bringing out properly the history of Ethiopia by building this, repairing these old buildings and building this park. This is a result of ideological clarity. People are not clear. They look at history in a fragmented way. Everything leads to something else. Something cannot happen without being preceded by something else. Therefore, the culture of trying to erase what the previous leaders had done is wrong. In Uganda, we had seen this, although we fought civil wars, but when we gained the upper hand, we insisted on forming what we called a broad-based government, where even the people who were against us before were integrated into the government of that time. So therefore, I want to congratulate the Prime Minister for doing this. He has now captured the real history of recent Ethiopia, starting with the Emperor Menelik, coming all the way to the present. I think this will also help to bring unity in terms of perception among the Ethiopians. If there are groups who felt annoyed and neglected, the Prime Minister has recognized everybody, and I congratulate him and I thank him.
I don't know why you guys smiled before, but we all regional leaders considered President Museveni as our father. So President Uhuru feel proud to be called Uhuru Museveni. Please come. I am repeating the previous mistake intentionally.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Your Excellency, President of Ethiopia, Madam Saleh Work Wede, Your Excellency, Dr. Abiy Mohammed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government here present, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying that I'm greatly honored to be with you today as we mark this auspicious launch, the grand social ceremony and the inauguration of Unity Park here in Addis Ababa. I take this opportunity to join President Uhuru Museveni in congratulating you, Prime Minister, for this great work. Prime Minister, Kenya and Ethiopia have enjoyed a peaceful coexistence and developed through continued dialogue and excellent neighborliness. And this has created a very strong foundation from which our partnership continues to grow in areas of mutual interest, and it has also given us an effective platform for the resolution of disputes in our region. And this is something that we in Kenya appreciate. Your invitation to this memorable occasion not only assures me, but the people of Kenya, that the peace that has existed between our nations shall grow even stronger in the years to come. The inauguration of this Unity Park comes only a few days after you launched the beautifying of the Shenger project, a project that is part of the comprehensive work that your government is undertaking to beautify the historically significant and culturally important city of Addis Ababa. Ethiopia is undoubtedly endowed with a rich and colorful history that makes it unique on the African continent. As one of the few countries to have resisted and defeated efforts at colonialism, and it also serves as a constant reminder of the need to preserve our culture and indeed our sovereignty. In this regard, I have no doubt that this campaign that we have started to restore Addis Ababa to her rightful glory will not only open up new economic opportunities for the people of Ethiopia, but will also inspire others across the continent to focus on the creation of environmentally friendly cities and urban centers. Preservation, promotion of authentic African heritage is crucial for the social, economic, and environmental well-being of our societies and our people. Preserving and restoring African cultural heritage and the protection of our environment is a huge investment that we as leaders must continue to champion tirelessly. It not only serves to restore dignity, honor, and well-being to the African people today, but it also serves as an important beacon to help our future generations navigate an increasingly complex world in which history, traditions, cultural identities stand to be lost. So once again, congratulations, Your Excellency, your government, for your foresight. And I would like to commend you also on the bold steps that you have taken on political reform, as well as gender inclusivity. Political reform is difficult and is indeed a lonely path. And indeed, your courage and determined efforts to bring about positive change to Ethiopia is indeed worth emulating. At heart, we understand that these reforms are driven by the desire for all people in Ethiopia to live in peace and for all Ethiopians to prosper. Opening up to the public the palace, which was hitherto closed to ordinary citizens, is akin to your ongoing efforts to create a more open, cohesive, democratic state in which everyone contributes to the work of nation building. This year, Kenya and Ethiopia will commemorate 55 years of our historic relationship that was initiated by our founding fathers, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and Emperor Haile Selassie. The fraternal relations born out of the Pan-African movement and passion for independence of the African continent continue to flourish and expand every day. So again, congratulations to you, the government and the people of Ethiopia, on the inauguration of this Unity Park, and indeed the splendid display of environmentally friendly urban plans for the 21st century, coupled with Ethiopian beauty and rich cultural heritage. I finally conclude by saying that a country that has no history can never understand her present and is therefore never able to plan for her future. Every country, and I repeat, every country has a good past, a not so good past, and a past that we would all wish to forget. By recognizing this, one can begin to heal from the wounds of the past and start the process of healing, of reconciliation, and prosperity. Congratulations to you, Prime Minister. Congratulations to Ethiopia. You have started on your journey to a great future, May God bless you on this journey, and may God bless Africa. Thank you.
Please join me on welcoming President Salva Kiir to the stage.
Your Excellency, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellencies, Head of States and Governments, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, Your Excellency, I wish to extend my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to the people and government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia for the invitation that have been extended to me to attend the Ethiopia's grand social ceremony, a noble experience of generational legacy. At the outset of my remarks, I would like to acknowledge here that the relationship between the people of South Sudan and the Ethiopian people is not just bilaterally enhanced relationship, but it is a historical people-to-people relationship that goes back to ancient biblical era. History is so rich on how the kingdoms of Kush and Axum thrived alongside each other and contributed to the world civilization. They were among the first Christian kingdoms to exist at the Horn of Africa, and this explains, up to today, our Christian bonding between the people of Ethiopia and the people of South Sudan. Therefore, we are the descendants of the great kingdoms that had lived as close cousins. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to this ancient connection, the people of Ethiopia have always stood by the people of South Sudan in their difficult history. We always run here for refuge when we flee from violent conflict, and Ethiopia unreservedly accepts to host us as their brothers and sisters from South Sudan. The 1972 peace agreement, popularly known as Addis Ababa Accord, was negotiated and signed here in Addis Ababa. It was the agreement that served as an eye-opener for the people of South Sudan to later on stage more robust fight for their liberation when the agreement was abrogated by the government of the then Sudan. Our own movement, the Sudan People's Liberation Movement and Sudan People's Liberation Army, was born here in Ethiopia in 1983. The Ethiopian government provided political, moral, and logistical support to the SPLA to launch its revolutionary armed struggle against the Sudanese government. What is more is that the Ethiopian people trained the majority of the SPLA soldiers, and some of them made ultimate sacrifices in the trenches and in the front lines with their South Sudanese brothers. The EPRDF government provided direct military support to our struggle, and we cannot thank the people of Ethiopia enough for their support and their sacrifices. Therefore, I find this occasion as a great opportunity for me to tell the people of Ethiopia, thank you, and a big thank you for the people of Ethiopia for all you have done to us. And without your support, South Sudan could have not achieved independence. So, South Sudan is your home, and this is the reason we have opened all the doors for the Ethiopians to do business in South Sudan. Your involvement in South Sudan's economy is appreciated. Your Excellency, we never get tired of appreciating you for the role you have played in our historical journey, as I narrated before, which goes as far back as the 1972 peace agreement, and more importantly, the support to our revolutionary armed struggle in 1980s, and now your dear support for the implementation of the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. As an update to Your Excellency and the Ethiopian people who wish their brothers and sisters in South Sudan peace and harmony, we are on schedule to form the revitalized transitional government of national unity in the next month, as stipulated by the revitalized agreement. The membership of the National Pre-Transitional Committee is working tirelessly to ensure the date for the formation of the government is met. Most of the pre-transitional activities have already been addressed, and pending issues are being tackled. Troops are already in cantonment sites. Training of nucleus unified force is ongoing. Necessary legal ratifications have been made, and I will soon be meeting with the leaders of opposition groups in Juba in preparation to form the government. The national dialogue process, which provided the people of South Sudan with an enabling platform to air out their grievances and propose solutions, is now at its final stage of convening the National Dialogue Conference in Juba. At this juncture, Your Excellency, we dearly call upon you to continue supporting not only our efforts in this regard, but also our appeals to the region and the international community to give us both political and material support. We are consciously aware some Western circles may not be happy with how we arrived at this agreement to settle the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. But with the support of Your Excellency and the rest of our region, our neighbors in the region, those distant voices will be silent, since they witness our determination to restore peace in South Sudan. Before I conclude, Your Excellency, let me know that it is indeed a real pleasure and privilege to have been accorded this opportunity to interact with all of you once again. I also want to assure you and the people of Ethiopia, as I said earlier, that our relations are not just neighborly relations. They are relations cemented by blood and a long history of peaceful coexistence. To conclude, Your Excellency, we pray God Almighty to give you strength to continue leading the people of Ethiopia effectively. As brothers and sisters from South Sudan, we wish you good health and happiness as you propel your country to greater economic prosperity. Thank you and congratulations to all what you have done. Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to call President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo to the stage.
Good evening. Your Excellency Sali Work Zodi, President of Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellencies, Presidents, Prime Minister, Head of State and Governments, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and privilege to be attending Ethiopia's grand social ceremony, a noble experience of generational legacy today at Unity Park in this beautiful city of Addis Ababa. I congratulate my brother, Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed, his government and the people of Ethiopia for the restoration of Unity Park. The restoration of the palace is an important symbol of the wider reforms and successes Ethiopia is achieving under the stewardship of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his government. The restoration of palace is truly magnificent. It's an honor to be surrounded by history and the beauty of modern design in this wonderful building. Ethiopia has historically been and will continue to be a destination for trade and tourism for the Somali people as a neighbors. Our two sides must benefit from the opportunities offered by our two respective countries, and in the process further strengthen our people-to-people relations. Projects like the restoration of National Palace will certainly contribute to the Ethiopia's economic reform agenda by boosting and developing the tourism sector. On our sides, we are committed to encouraging tourism in our respective countries between our two peoples, and this is made much easier by the daily direct flights of Ethiopian Airlines, for which we are grateful. Tourism is a pillar of economic development that has the potential to create jobs, foster partnerships, and facilitate innovation. Restoration projects like the Unity Park is an important to diversify the economy in a way that celebrates the identity and history of the Ethiopian people. I once again congratulate you and the government and the people of Ethiopia on this magnificent success. I can assure you, Mr. Prime Minister, that my delegation and I committed.
ጤና ይስጥልን ተመልካቾች እንደምን